correlation with fat booties comes from.
Yeah,
because it used to be like
genetics.
No, but it used to be in the 80s, or in the 80s, it was all about like...
It wasn't like
we're
butts.
recording now, but...
Well, okay, I mean, this is
I just wanted to let you guys know.
You know, when did we start recording?
Just now.
Now?
Butts have really blown up. I guess it was Wiz Khalifa.
Wiz Khalifa?
We Them Boys.
Oh.
Ass so fat, let's make a baby.
That's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because when you look through the years, it's like...
we go in phases.
Yeah, like big booties wasn't all the rage, you know what I mean? Like the 80s and 70s.
So it started making a comeback with Sir Mix-a-Lot. I like big butts, cannot lie. And I remember I was just like, big butts. And then so like I was instantly into
hip-hop made it super popular.
Me being a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like in, I guess, junior high, maybe when things started like catching your attention.
Yeah.
And everybody was like into big boobs, and I was like, "No, dude, it's all about the booty."
Mm-hmm,
and then now it's like everyone's all about it, and I'm like, "Hey, I was here first, all right? I was into this shit way before you kids."
Yeah, but social media really done a number, because like now it's not just big butts. It's like when you look at those IG models, IG baddies, it's like you gotta have everything. You gotta have here and you gotta have here. And that's why all these people are getting BBLs. I didn't realize what's a BBLs? That's what girls be calling it. BBLs are Brazilian butt lifts.
Oh,
yeah, that's what BBLs are. I've been hearing a lot of people, like a lot of people have, more people than you'd expect have BBLs, and then fake tatas, and it really just warps perceptions on bodies, man.
I love
big time.
I went to it was Rogan when he was here a while back, when Uriah Faber fought in the UFC. It was like a big event. I think it was at the old Arco Arena too.
Yeah.
But he did a stand up, and he was like, imagine explaining to aliens the Kardashians. So this is a couple years back. So
I remember this one.
And he's like, well, why do so many people listen to her? And he's like, oh, because she's big right here, and she's big right there. And he's like,
and that's
it. Yeah, that's
she
actually
did a sex tape.
Right. So yeah, she has some talent.
They're also marketing geniuses. Let's not take that away from them. They are marketing geniuses.
Are they, or
the
mom?
The mom.
Yeah.
But she taught the daughters, and the daughters have done well too. So like you can't take away, like, Kylie Jenner is a billionaire. Like they done put in work, but
they know
still,
what's going on,
yeah.
They got up there partially because of Kim
having a big fat juicy ass. Put him on the map.
It did. That ass really put him on the map.
And by the way, no hate. Like, hey, make your money. It's funny though.
Yeah, but yeah, man, it's it makes you wonder too, like how much like, because okay, so we lift. Our bodies were made in the gym, right? But like at the same time, if you're in fitness culture, you also see how kind of warped up, I guess, a sense of what a healthy body looks like is. Because yeah, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to look like us to be healthy. You don't even have to look anything remotely close to us. But if you're in the fitness industry, and if Mark was like 15 pounds heavier, we'd be saying, Mark, you fat, bro. Like, or if I was 15 pounds heavier, like, we'd be like, Nsima, you got a little fat, bro. It's crazy.
Just a little thick.
Yeah.
Just a little thick.
If you ain't 180, you ain't a lady.
You ain't 180, you ain't a lady.
Terrible. Oh, I just kept putting the camera on Mark as you and I were talking about the Kardashians, and he's like, I don't give a fuck.
But what I do give a fuck about is I had some fish rice last night and 2 steaks. I really should, you know what, from our conversation the other day, I really should be taking pictures of my meal so people understand, but I just feel like it's so boring. I never do. But yeah, that fish was good.
IG stories disappear, right?
Yeah, they do. They really do. I put some of that angry duck sauce on it.
Did you like it?
It was good.
Still haven't messed with it.
It's got a little spice to it.
Spice and tang.
Mm-hmm. It's really good. What kind of fish was it?
It was a salmon. It was which one was it? The garlic something salmon. But it was really good. I just like how quick it is, man. Like I got home from jiu-jitsu and I was super tired, so I just warmed it up, put it on, put the rice on, boom, damn done.
I'm having a hard time stopping with the shrimp. So good. Just plow right through it every time. I'm like, I'm just gonna put one in the microwave, and then I end up eating 2 of them right in a row.
I haven't done the surf and turf yet. I need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday, I had the Eat Right shrimp for breakfast right when I got here. I'm like, I want to do a protein shake. And I'm like, how about I do something a little bit superior? And I had I forget how many grams of protein are in it, but there's like no fat.
80 something, I think.
Yeah, it's incredible.
80 yeah.
And on top of that, it tastes delicious. It's filling. Didn't have any rice with it. Went no carb, low carb. And it's just incredible. And the best thing is I didn't have to cook it. It was all ready for me, and all I had to do is throw it in the microwave. And if that's something that interests you, I highly recommend that you go to eatrightfoods.com. That's RITE foods.com. Get at least a week's worth of meals for yourself, maybe another week's worth of food for a friend. And at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject25 for an entire 25% off your order. And then after that, use promo code PowerProject for 10% off every order after that initial order. And again, all the links will be down in the description below, as well as the podcast show notes. Eatrightfoods.com, promo code PowerProject25. The first order, promo code PowerProject for every order after that. Head over there ASAP.
Oh my God. I found the origin. Yeah, it's Wiz Khalifa.
There you go.
Was that what you're...
Yeah. I'm like trying to find it. I thought it was like at the end of a verse or whatever, but it was like it was stuck in the middle there. Yeah.
Ass so fat we can have a baby.
Let's make a baby.
Ass so fat, cool. Let's make a baby. Yeah.
It's you got to ass so fat. Let's make a baby. Our obsession with asses, I think, probably started when I think people started to figure out that you can like manipulate them pretty well through training. I think I think like I think a lot of girls, they started training their butts more, and then they were like, like somebody like Kim Kardashian, people are probably like, how does she have a butt like that? Maybe, maybe she got that way because she's just sort of born-ish that way.
She uses a hip circle.
Right. She does use a hip circle. She does use a hip circle. But I think that people used to just think that that's the way someone was built, and that was that.
Yeah.
But we've seen evidence of something different out there.
Yeah.
Dude, sometimes it really surprises me when I see before and after pictures of some women, and I'm just like, wait, 3 years of like some women were like literally they didn't have much of a build.
Very thin, especially like through the arms and stuff.
Very
I've seen.
thin, yeah, and the legs and everything. It looks like, and then 3 years later with training, it's like whoa, like well, congratulations, just like that's great work. Like the way that you can like manipulate your body with some strength training is insane.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what you were kind of talking about like earlier about like when they became like in style again. But I mean, I think it goes way back to like even caveman days. Like if she had them birthing hips, you knew she was going to be good to plant your seed in. So I think that's where the attraction comes
Andrew.
from.
Hey, not talk like that.
Sorry.
But I guess
I used grown-up words.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that does make sense. But
yeah,
like,
she's healthy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you're right though. Like it's like strength training really showed people that you can really change your body without having to get surgery. You know what I mean? But it'd still be wild how many of these people online be like slightly getting BBLs without telling anybody.
I actually wonder like what the body fat percentage is on some of these fitness girls that look great. Like what you can get away with, because I think having more muscle mass and having muscle in the right spots, you don't have to be thin. You don't have to even try to be skinny to be attractive.
You don't.
And I think previously that's what people thought. Like I just need to get skinny. I just need to look like everybody else, or I just need to look like the other girls that are thin. And I don't think that's true anymore.
No, that's not true. That's not
true. It probably was never true, actually. But
yeah,
I think that maybe people just didn't have a vehicle or way to know how to grow the spots they wanted to grow.
And it's the same like whenever I do. Because I like when women ask me about training, it's like, no, don't worry about losing weight. Just strength train. Trust me, your body will change. You don't need to worry about dropping weight. Your body fat will go down without you really worrying at it. Eat at maintenance and just go into the gym, weight train. You could do some cardio, but cut this weight loss shit. Sometimes you do need to worry about dropping weight, especially if you're like really heavy. But in many cases, just get into training, lifting weights. Your body will transform.
What worked well for my butt was to get up to 330 pounds.
Hey, man, you really do have a fat butt, though. I know we always commented on here, but like you're like when everyone saw you at that bodybuilding show, you know how many people in the crowd are like, his ass is so fat.
I've never been like more like oddly embarrassed in my life. I walked into the I walked into the, I don't know, Hani wanted me to get like some sort of shimmer or something on. I don't know what the fuck's going on. This bodybuilding shows. He's like, you need to get like, you need to shine up more or something. He's like, so go in there. And I go in this room and it's all women in there. And they go, whoa. They're like, what did you do to get your ass like that?
I love it.
And Hani's like, oh my God, dude. He's like, you should see your face. He's like, you're so red right now. You're so embarrassed. I was like, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. They're like kind of whistling at me as I walked in. I was
Now
like,
you know how it feels.
Yeah, I was like, this whole thing? I was like, I'm not asking for it by wearing these tiny little underwear. But maybe I was. But lots of squats, lots of deadlifts. But my hips have always kind of been built a little bit that way, to where my hips kind of point towards the ground, I guess, a little bit, you know? What do they call it? Like anterior
pelvic
tilt. There you go. Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gosh, must have trained every day to do that, to build that booty, huh?
You have to.
Every day.
Can't miss a day.
You train every day, Andrew?
I, oddly enough, have been training a lot more frequently. But no, not every day.
Do you have like days that are scheduled to like not work out, or does it sometimes just happen that you just don't work out?
I try to leave those for the weekends, just not because like I really care that it's a Saturday or Sunday, but usually that's when the family's home, and that means that we're probably going to be up a little bit later than normal. And if I don't get it in the morning, then there's a really good chance that I just won't get it in throughout the rest of the day, just because there's too much going on. So if I do take a day off, it's going to be like on a Sunday. Because usually Saturday, I'll wake up early, train pretty good because we don't have anything scheduled usually on a Saturday. So I have a longer training session, and then I have a day's worth of stuff with the family, and then a long night usually because, like I said, everyone's home, which means I'm kind of exhausted. So I'm like, you know what, tomorrow, probably not going to happen. So that's usually when it will not happen. But right now I'm training like 5-6 days a week.
What if you were going to go to a barbecue or something on Saturday, but Sunday, you were like, oh, maybe I'll just switch it. You do that sometimes?
All the time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I don't operate on a like a Monday through Friday schedule with my workouts either. Like Monday's not chest day. It doesn't matter. I just make sure I get in and do something.
I think maybe we should define some non-negotiables. And what I mean by that is this, because whenever like we all get asked the question, oh, how many days a week should I train? Because a lot of people are like, how many days a week is the optimal days a week to train? It's a hard question to answer because when we think about training, like people usually think of like a hard session, right? But there are just certain things that you should be doing each day outside of maybe the gym or hard cardiovascular work. That's just good for you, like walking. Right? I wouldn't put that as part of training. And when we think about it, like a lot of people who have desk jobs or sit at work all day, they don't get a lot of opportunity to actually walk. So a non-negotiable for them outside of getting in the gym and training should be getting multiple walks in a day or quite a few steps in each day, just in general for your health.
I don't know if people even know this, but on your phone, it tracks your steps. I've shown this to a bunch of people, and like I didn't even know it had that on there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's weird. So maybe there's people that are unaware, but at least for my phone, which is just a iPhone, when you click on the health thingy that has the heart, it shows your steps, and it'll actually show your steps from like previous days. As long as your phone was with you on your walks, then you're good to go. So someone could even just be listening to this right now and say, I kind of wonder, if you look at your phone, you open up that app, it might take you a while to find it, because I've had to dive into some people's phones to like look for it. It was like harder on some phones than others for whatever reason. But once you find that, you might learn that, I take 3,000 steps a day, or I take 5,000 steps a day. See if you could just increase that.
Yeah.
You don't have to like, you don't need to work towards 20,000 steps every day out of nowhere or something like that. 10,000 steps, I think, is a pretty large amount of walking. So if you can work your way towards that, that would be a good goal. I think it turns out to be like 5 miles, which is kind of a lot of walking. But if you could get that maybe a few times a week, that would be great. When it comes to strength training, and when it comes to, like being a power lifter or trying to get like maximal results for bodybuilding or something, this is where somebody could say, 4 days a week, 5 days a week is probably a good idea. And that worked really well for me for powerlifting. Like I kind of, when I was in my powerlifting career, I I kind of needed days that were like off, but those days still weren't like all the way off, because I would come in and I would do rotator cuff work. I would do like bullshit stuff. Might work calves, might work abs, might do like other stuff that I just think would be in my best interest to help me towards my goals. So I love training every day. It's on the schedule every day to train. And there's some days where I come in, I got my walks in, I did a podcast. I'm like, I actually don't really care if I train or not today. I'll just fucking go home, and I don't sweat it. I don't worry about it. And then maybe when I, after I eat dinner, maybe I'll go on another walk or something like that.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. Like, one thing is, it's like, you shouldn't beat yourself up too much if you're not able to get in a training session during the week. Let's say like you set yourself up a 5-day-a-week training protocol and you only get 4 days in 1 week. Don't let that beat yourself up. And I would honestly suggest, don't try to get that session in or make up that session in the next week, because what happens is, if you're not used to, especially if all those training days that you've programmed are hard, if you're not used to doing that in succession, then you try to do 6 days the next week, you probably won't feel that great. But when the way I look at it, and this is me, this isn't what everybody needs to do, but I try to do something that is training every day. There will be sessions during the week that are harder, and then there will be sessions that I have during the week that are purposefully easy, where I just like, it could be that I work every body part, but it's light, and I'm just driving blood to those different muscle groups, because that helps with recovery, right? And I get to move, and afterwards I always feel good. Even if I went in super tired, if I can just do some lightweight, get some blood flow everywhere, I feel great. And that's just like, I think that you can manage that. It doesn't need to be an hour. It can be 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And if there's a day for some reason that I couldn't get to the gym, especially like during quarantine, I'll do some type of kettlebell movements work where I just get to move my body through different ranges of motion. I like doing that. So I do some form of training every single day. You know what I mean? But it's not that every day is hard. And I think that's what we got to remember. Not every day needs to be 100%.
It doesn't have to be a fully super sophisticated workout plan that you run every single day, that you do every single day. You could go in the gym and say, you know what, I just want some movement. You could even do like one exercise a day. I think that even if you were to convince yourself to do one exercise, you most likely would probably do more. But I had a really simple workout a couple days ago. All I did was low cable curls and tricep push downs. I just went back and forth on them, back and forth. And I was like, I'm going to do this for like 20 or 30 minutes. I ended up doing it for an hour straight.
Jeez.
I didn't do any other exercises though, just those two movements. It felt really good. And that would be the other thing too. Don't think that you need to get in a bunch of exercises. Somebody might have scientific proof or evidence that it's more advantageous to do 2 or 3 body parts in a training session, or 3 exercises per workout, or whatever it is. But that doesn't mean you don't get any benefit from going to the gym and doing one exercise. And I think we have a tendency to undersell what we actually do or what we actually did. And sometimes we might say something like, all I had time for today, I just went in the gym and deadlifted. It's like, well, deadlifts is like one of the hardest exercises you can pick, and same with a squat. And so if that's quote unquote all you did for the day, that's actually a lot, and you should be pumped about that. And you don't have to worry about whether you got hamstring curls in, or leg press, or belt squat, and all the other things that you might have wanted to get to.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true. I will say this though too, because I think a lot of there are probably a lot of individuals whose their ears perked up and they're like, well, I only have to do deadlifts and squats. And it's good. Trust me, it's a good training session. But if you do want to gain a lot of muscle in other places, you probably should do those smaller movements. That'll help you out.
Especially if you're a newer lifter. So a more advanced lifter, if someone can deadlift, let's just say 500 pounds, and they went in the gym and they did 4 sets of 6 with 405 or something like that, it's like, well, dude, you can probably go the fuck home.
Yeah.
Like, you wrecked your hamstrings, your lower back, and your butt, and you're good. You don't need to probably worry about it. But if you're a newer lifter and you did 185 for 4 sets of 6, it'd probably be in your best interest to say, you know what, I need to spend some fucking time I got some chicken legs. I need to spend some time doing some leg curls. I'm going to drag the sled for 20 minutes, and then I'm going to go home.
That falls into the whole muscle is money thing that we talk about all the time. Like realize this, like when you've put in, Andrei Milanichev came on and said, your first few years of training, you should be building up volume. So building up volume each body part, doing everything everywhere so you can build muscle, so that you then can use that muscle to do strength work. So if you are starting out, start off by essentially doing bodybuilding work. And then if you want to do powerlifting, do that after a few years, because you've probably built a good body that can handle training volume, right? But the cool thing is that after a lot of training years, after you've built a good body, it doesn't take that much to maintain the muscle you've put on. You don't need to keep lifting that training volume to maintain your frame. Actually, we had Brad Schoenfeld and a lot like Menno Henselmans. They came in and they specifically said, hey, it doesn't take a lot to maintain muscle that's already been built. Building it is rough. Not rough, I'm not gonna say rough. Building it takes work, but maintaining it takes much less work.
Mm-hmm. And then what I was also going to add about, because I was just thinking, like this week, my son, he's 7 months old, so we had a pretty bad night the other night. Like he was so tired he couldn't sleep. It was weird. Like he would fall asleep and then he'd wake up freaking out. I kind of made the decision at like 1 a.m. like, yeah, probably not going to do it tomorrow. So I made sure that I got as good of rest as I could, because I sort of treated that rest day as like another workout almost. Like I was like, I'm going to make sure I get good rest here, because like I don't want to throw away the day completely, and made sure I actually made it worth it to kind of chill out. So by doing that prevented me from feeling like shit for not working out, because it would have been so bad to get like 4 hours of sleep and then try to lift. Like it would not have been good. Would have been bad.
Yeah, people don't need to get anxiety over Nsima saying he works out every day. Okay. or any one of us saying that we walk or do whatever each and every day. But we do think it's important to exercise every day, and I think it's also important to understand, like, again, given the scenario, let's just say I went to go in the gym and do some back, right? Go in, do some lat pull downs, do a couple seated rows, and then I get pulled away, and I'm in like a meeting or something, and then for whatever reason, I just don't feel like I got enough motivation to go back in the gym and train. Now, do you really think it matters that much that I come back in tomorrow and I decide to do some pullovers and I decide to do a couple other things for my lats and finish them off, 14 hours later? I mean, there's not enough real compelling evidence or testing, or like these tests they're too hard to do when you're just living your life and you're just exercising these certain ways. So I wouldn't think that you have to. There are particular ways to work out. I don't want to say like, working out completely randomly all the time you might be misdirected and not be able to get to your goal as quickly as you'd like. So that's not necessarily great. But it is your workout and it is your body. And if you really don't like working out that much, select things that you know that you do like. Try not to spend too much time in the gym. I think that's a really good thing that you do in Nsima. It's like, I don't really see you in there forever. Like, you're in there and you're getting your shit done, get a lot of work done. But I don't know you to be in there for like 3 or 4 hours. You know what I mean? And I think some people make the mistake of being in there for so long, it cuts into their next day. So if you're in the gym 3 or 4 times a week and you're in there 90 minutes every single time and you're just dead ass tired and you don't think that you can train on these other days, maybe cutting back on those other days a bit. And also, like, what about just being fired up or inspired by something you see somebody else post? Like, we do that all the time. Like, hey, you see that exercise that guy did? Oh shit, that was wild. Let's try that today. And that will be our workout for the day. Like, so don't think that every time that you go into a gym or every time that you're going to do some sort of resistance training, that it needs to be this monumental workout. It could literally just be a couple exercises. Make it fun. Fun for me is to try new things and to mess around with new stuff. It's rare that I do the same workout. I'm just trying to make sure what I'm saying is accurate. But yeah, I would say that over the last maybe 10 or 15 years, before that, I did do similar workouts. Over the last 10, 15 years, I have not done a single workout that is the same from one week to the next. They've been all very, very different. What I mean by that is, one week I might use a curl bar. The next week I might use hammer curls. The next week, now there is some utility and strategy in saying, I'm going to make my hammer curls stronger. So that way you have a measure and you can kind of follow up and work on them for periods of time. But me personally, I never dug that. I never cared that much about that. I just keep switching things up. I just kind of do what calls to me. And that way I can autocorrect in the workout, and I can say, man, I'd love to do those rows with Nsima, but my lower back actually hurts today. So you know what? I'm just going to kind of do a pussy workout and do pull downs or something, you know? So you got to, you know, whatever you're going to be able to do for the day, lean into that. Don't worry too much about the shit that you can't get to or do.
I love what you just said there. The weights speak to me, and the weights tell me what I should
What'd you say, motherfucker?
That's so esoteric. But no, the way I used to set up my training was I would literally write my program out, and I would have multiple 6-week cycles of like, I'm progressing this for this next, I'm progressing this. I still do quite a bit of that, but the way I do things now is like, there are certain movements that, okay, I'm going to be working on this movement for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And there's a few of those, and then everything else is fair game. So if I feel like doing a different shoulder exercise than than this that I was doing last week, I'll do that. And there's more, I allow more variability now. And I think that's beneficial to do when you know more. Like you said, the last 10 to 15 years, but you've been training for how long? Like
30 something years. Yeah.
30 something years. And I would assume that like you still did different things from week to week, but when you were earlier in your training career, and especially when you were like getting ready for meets, things were much more regimented in what you were doing from week to week in terms of like box squats, all the different types of movements. But like now that you kind of understand how you progress, you understand what your body can do, you can then just kind of do what feels right and still make progression because you are so familiar with the gym.
Yeah, there would be different variables thrown in there. So like one week I might squat with bands, and next week I might squat with chains. But to your point, I knew so much about what I was doing, and I could feel that the weights were similar. So there might have been 405 pounds of weight on the bar, and then there might have been 200 pounds of chain on the bar. And then the next time I went to use the bands, I would kind of make sure the bands were a similar weight. So it wasn't like I was going from, one weight to some crazy weight the next week, but there was always small like little changes in the workouts. And so they weren't massive all the time. It doesn't mean that I went from like doing a box squat to doing Bulgarian split squats the next week. You know, I did squat for many, many, many years, straight, probably for a good 15 years straight of box squatting every single week for 52 weeks. But my point in it being different is that I would use a different bar. I would use a different rep strategy. I would use a different set strategy. I would use different forms of resistance in terms of bands, chains, weight releasers, and or just the weight on the bar. So there's a massive amount of variability. But there was also indicators. Dave Tate wrote articles about this on EliteFTS.com, which you can still check out today, or it might be on T Nation. Sorry about that. I can't remember where I saw it. But he wrote articles about indicators, and he had these specific indicators that for him, if he felt those go up, he knew he was getting stronger in other areas. An example of that would be maybe he would do a rack deadlift. And so he knew if his rack deadlift is going up, his lower back was getting stronger, his regular deadlift might be a little stronger than it used to be, and his squats might be a little stronger than it used to be. Things like that you're going to start to recognize in yourself that, oh my God, I increased the strength of my lats, the way that I can pull, and I increased the strength of my biceps. Holy shit, these pull-ups are way easier. There's going to be like things that you might have indicators in your own workouts.
One thing I want to add in there too is that when I was mentioning I work out every day, I understand that not for everybody, I guess, working out isn't the biggest part of their life, right? For me, exercise and health is very huge because I'm looking for longevity, and I don't when I get older, I want to feel young. So that's why I'm so gung-ho about this shit. But one thing is you don't need to go to the gym too all the time. I think Nick Bear always said that since he was 13 years old, he always just did 100 push-ups every single day. That's just something he did. So I'm not saying you need to do 100 push-ups every day, but if there's a day that you're not going to go to the gym, maybe I'm going to do 10 push-ups today. Because what's going to probably happen is you'll do your 10, you'll probably do more than 10. And then maybe you might end up doing 30, 40, 50 push-ups during that day. And that is a good thing to do for your body. Or I have a pull-up bar at my house. So it's always hanging up on a door. And usually whenever I pass through the frame, I always do a few pull-ups. I'll always do 3, 4, 5, maybe 8, whatever but I'll always get in a lot of pull-ups during the day, and those add up. So you don't necessarily have to go to the gym to get work done. You can have a few weights at home. And like I mentioned, there are days that I just get blood flow. You could get a good just blood flow type of workout, getting blood flow to different muscles in 10 to 15 minutes if you just have one pair of dumbbells at your house, literally.
Does it matter that you're doing like 2 or 3 every couple hours? Because you said it adds up, but you probably don't feel like a burn. You don't really feel like you worked out. Does that even matter though?
Oh, that absolutely matters.
So
so you're saying, do I need to feel sore?
Essentially, yeah. Because
So if we're talking about the amount of pull-ups that most people can do before they feel something, like most people will feel something with 5 pull-ups, 4 pull-ups, you'll feel something. And if you just do that multiple times through your doorway, you end up doing 15, 20 pull-ups during your day. That will add up over time in terms of your actual pull-up strength and everything else that's working when you're doing pull-ups. So it is beneficial. I think movement in general should be more encouraged because of how most of us live nowadays. Most of us live in a seat for a lot of our days. And we're not standing. I feel super lucky that we get to just be here standing near this podcast and we're not sitting in chairs, because this promotes movement, right? And most people have to sit down at work on a computer all day long, and that doesn't promote movement. So if you can have like a kettlebell in your office or something, or even a desk riser that promotes movement, that's going to be so freaking useful for you.
To Nsima's point, and to answer your question a little bit more too, Andrew, is what this is referred to is like repeated effort. So when you try to have a repeated effort in the gym of, let's say, pull-ups are a great example. Let's say set number 1, you do 8 reps, and then you rest 90 seconds. Set number 2, you do 6 reps. Set number 3, you get like 3 reps. Well, according to, there's a lot of different ways to train. But in general, I would suggest that person moves on to probably something else. Your strength decreased by over 2%, which is usually like just a rep or 2. And in that case, it's usually a good idea to move on to another exercise. You can apply this to dumbbell pressing, bench, regular barbell bench pressing, squats, deadlifts, anything that you want. Once you start to decrease your repetitions by like 2 or more, it's probably time to discontinue that exercise. In the case of pull-ups, in the case of what Nsima is talking about, his repeated effort, if somebody was to do this, to do it at a gym or in an office setting or at their house or wherever, if they just had a chin-up bar, pull-up bar, just randomly somewhere, and they could get it, let's say their max amount of reps they could do is like 3. They got 3 reps in here, 3 reps there, 3 reps there, scattered throughout the day. One, after 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 later on in the day. They're going to be able to have a good repeated effort and get all 3 repetitions every single time, as opposed to only resting for 90 seconds. They won't induce the same soreness, most likely, because they didn't have a shortened rest period. So they didn't go into it fatigued. So someone could technically say, well, maybe you're not going to, get the hypertrophy that you would get. But the other argument would be, hey, you did more volume, so you're still going to get bigger. You're still going to get stronger. So there's many, many ways to train. Training intentionally when you're fatigued, we already know works really well. Pre-exhaust methods, or just not giving yourself adequate rest to do the next set. In the case of German volume training, doing a 10 by 10, and doing every 90 seconds or something will annihilate you. And you only need like a 45-pound plate on each side of the bar. And that can probably elicit some muscle growth. But something different where you did, let's say, 3 sets of 10, where you used 315 pounds, the intensity is now higher. You rest for 4 or 5 minutes in between your sets. That one will also have a lot of value, and you'll also be able to grow and expand from that as well.
Damn. Yeah. I was just thinking, because people will be like, no, like you have to, feel that soreness. You have to get hypertrophy going. But it's funny because, Nsima recommending people do that every time they walk by that pull-up bar, like just do a couple. If someone is thinking like, no, you need to be sore, therefore I'm not even going to bother. It's like, dude, you're going the wrong way at that point. It's like just because you're not going to get sore from doing 3 pull-ups, you're just not going to do them at all. So you're just going to totally wipe that off the table. Like that's going the wrong direction.
But on the topic of soreness, so the first thing about soreness is, first off, when you're newer in the gym, especially in like year 1, year 2, and you're really like progressing, right? And the gains are coming fast. Soreness is prevalent. Like you feel sore a lot, especially when you do some new things that you've never done before. Like your hamstrings might feel like they might not be able to move. You'll feel super sore. But as you work out longer and longer, even as you get stronger, even as you build up volume, you don't get as sore as you used to when you started, right? Like I don't get as sore as I did when I first started training. So that's one thing. Like I don't use soreness as a predictor of, I trained hard. I actually use, if I'm really, really sore, that's a tell to me that, okay, I'm going to go a little bit easier today. So instead of just not working out, that'll be a day that I go into the gym and I do a 30-minute thing where I just, again, blood flow. I just get a pump on a lot of things and I don't worry about lifting super heavy weight, or I don't look for it to be super stressful. I just worry about going through a good range of motion, getting blood to those different muscle groups. So the reason why I'm saying that is I don't necessarily think that a lot of people, when they're super sore, they're like, okay, I'm not going to do anything today, which is okay. That can actually help you with recovery too. That's fine. But you could also look at that and be like, okay, I'm just going to go into the gym. I'm going to do 20 or 30 minutes of something easy, because that will help your recovery. But at least I still think that there is a benefit in the habit of making sure that you do something each day, even if it's something easy, just doing something.
Did you do that when you were going to like a 24-hour gym where there was a lot of other people and a lot of opportunities for your ego to come work out with you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's big. Cause that's what I was thinking too. Cause I'm like, back in my day, like if I showed up at the gym, it's like, no, I'm going to show everybody that I'm going to work longer and harder than everybody here, and then end up getting hurt harder, worse than everybody. But yeah.
Soreness is also deceiving because it can happen from stretching, So if you chose to do dumbbell flies and you chose to superset that with pec deck type movement, you'd be super sore. Or instead of your squats for the day, you just chose to do like a Bulgarian split squat or something, something that kind of stretches you out more, or stiff leg deadlifts. You did a lot of stiff leg deadlifts, or the calves are a great example.
Oh yeah.
Do full range of motion calf work, and your calves get really, really sore. So soreness it's not a bad indicator. It's like, it is an indicator of like a certain amount of work that gets done. I like for myself, I like for areas to feel like they got worked a little bit, not really super sore, not really stiff necessarily, but the next day and sometimes even a day later, they just feel like a little like swollen and even like a little exhausted. More in that range.
Got it. Yeah, and the internet's back, by the way.
What? Got the internet back.
Yeah. But anyway, so if you guys have any online references, I can finally pull them up.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it would be absolutely useful because, again, not everyone, I'm lucky to be working in a place that has a gym right next to me. So if I ever do want to get a quick 30-minute workout in, it's 10 steps away. Right. So I understand I have this advantage. So if anything, what I'm talking about here, buy a pair of dumbbells for your house, buy a kettlebell for your house, maybe get a pull-up bar for a door frame. Just again, so if you can't make it to the gym, right, you could do something small in the comfort of your own home, and it doesn't need to be some heroic ass workout.
You can do something quick and easy. A lot of times, some of the CrossFit workouts are pretty good. They could be like 12 minutes long. You do some sort of dumbbell complex.
Add a hip circle into the mix with a lot of those movements. I like doing a lot of that too.
Yeah. You get crushed.
Yeah. I one workout I did it with my daughter. I just said, pick a number and, from 1 to 10. I genuinely didn't care what it was going to be. I'd make something up if it was like a 1, but she said 10. I'm like, all right, we're going to do 10 burpees every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. Dude, I mean, okay, so someone who doesn't do a lot of push-ups or anything like that, like she was actually pretty sore, which was kind of funny, but it was so easy and like it was fun, and it's like anybody could do that. And those fucking CrossFitters, man, every minute on the minute, or like those Tabatas or whatever the hell they're called, like they sound so like, oh, I can do that, and then halfway through you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get through it. But that's like part of that challenge. So something as easy as just 100 burpees in 10 whole minutes, it can be pretty challenging after a while, So depending on where you are in your fitness I guess, journey. But like, yes, little things like that can add up.
When you mess around with training every day, do you sometimes midway through a workout kind of look at the clock and say, yeah, I should probably wrap this one up, but maybe for tomorrow I should get, like, is there something sometimes
things roll over?
Yeah, you're like, oh, I should probably, because like, we get excited, we want to do other stuff, and you're just like, that would be good to incorporate that tomorrow. Or do you do stuff like that?
Yeah. Things roll over all the time. Like, especially if I'm doing a few pretty stressful movements and I'm just like, ooh, I really wanted to do Nordics today, but that's just not going to fly. I'll just do it tomorrow. Like, it's like roll over minutes from cell phones.
Yeah, people
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, people got to be okay with that, though, and I think a lot of times people like they stress about it. They get real worried about it that they can't do it the next day.
Because sometimes there is a little bit of merit, especially if you're on if you're someone who's getting ready for a powerlifting meet and you've split up your squats and your deadlifts and your benches on different days of the week, and for some reason, who knows why, but like you weren't able to get in the deadlift volume you needed to get in, but tomorrow you're going to squat. You can't deadlift tomorrow. I get it. Okay. Yeah. I can understand that. But in most people's situations, if you're just trying to get stronger, you're not powerlifting for a meet, or you're just trying to get bigger and you're not doing a show, you should be totally okay with letting things roll over to another day, or, maybe just doing that later on in the week. It's not that big of a deal.
I'd say, especially with people that are trying to lose weight, get the fuck out of the gym. Like, if you already went and you already got a good training session in, you should cut your losses and go, because the more that you sweat, the more that you work, the more calories that you burn, the more calories your body's going to want. So literally it gets to a point where all you're going to do is make your chubby little self hungrier for later on in the day.
Chubby little self.
That's what I think about. I'm like, oh man, I do love training, but I'm going to be so hungry if I keep doing this. My mind's going to be wandering. So I just try to say, you know what? Just fucking get out of here.
Chubby little knees.
Yeah.
Hey, but
chubby little kneecaps.
Real talk on the idea of exercise equipment. If you are getting something for your home, get something that you're excited about and that promotes movement. What I was thinking about was like the slant board is so cool, even though it's just a freaking board that is at a slant. Like, it's a really good like mobility tool, because you can just get on that, squat, and sit there. I like doing that a lot. And you can add in body weight squats onto it. You can add in like weighted squats.
I got one in my living room.
Right? It promotes movement. And if you just put it right there, literally, if you just put it right there in your living room, you probably go and you just fucking squat.
When I walk past it, I just move around on it, squat on it. Yeah. When I think about it, I'm like, ooh, that's going to kind of like hurt to do that out of nowhere. But I do it anyway, and it loosens up my back and it feels good, and I just do a couple reps and I sit back down and watch TV.
There you go. Yeah, I actually was doing just calves on it, like just lifting myself up, and I was just like, this is cool, like it's comfortable, like you're not like falling off a ledge or anything. And so calf raises on the slant board is really good, and I couldn't walk the rest of the day because I was like a newborn baby colt.
Doesn't our buddy Kyle Kingsbury like not have couches or something? What is it about his house that promotes movement? He does something.
He has a trampoline.
He when we were there, he had a couch.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, but he didn't have any chairs for like at dinner time. He had to like kind of sit down crisscross applesauce and try to figure out how to eat very on the floor. It was so strange.
Great salad though.
It was amazing.
That's pretty great. Like,
he's got weights like right under his TV, and his kid is like bouncing off of exercise balls and
just climbing all over everybody.
Yeah.
Honestly, again, anything to promote different types of movement, I'm in favor for. That's why, like, I'm in favor of standing desks.
His son Bear jumped right on his back, and like it looked like he was trying to take his neck, like he was a jiu-jitsu practitioner. It was hilarious.
That boy's gonna be a savage, man.
It was amazing.
He already is.
Our boy Kyle with no shoes
ever. Yeah, I want to get a trampoline though. The way that they had it, it's just a small trampoline, but
yeah. I don't trust trampolines, man.
No,
not with my big ass. I do not.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Whoop, poof. Like, I've seen some people with some accidents. I'm just like,
yeah, you can get fucked up.
The Nutty Professor.
Oh, was that in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Let me find it.
Actually, by the way, guys, my new name is Jean-Claude Van Daddy, just so you know. So if you ever refer to me, it's no longer Nsima. It's no longer Natty Professor. It is Jean-Claude Van Daddy or Van Daddy or JCV Daddy.
You changed it officially?
It's officially. Josh Settledge actually coined it. So I coined him Settlegate, and he coined me.
Now you got to work on a split between the chairs.
Yes.
Look. Oh, here we go.
Oh, what is it?
Oh, yeah, the acupuncture.
But no, this is going to be Nsima on the trampoline.
Oh, yeah. It's just all the way down.
Fucking Eddie Murphy, man.
How much is he benching? Oh, come on. That's like maybe 100 pounds.
Wow.
Anyway.
I don't think this movie would fly these days. The Nutty Professor. I don't think people would be okay with a man wearing a fat suit like that. They'd probably be like, that's phobic.
Yeah,
I
love that movie.
It would, because when he loses the weight, he's like super mean to the fat guy.
Yeah.
It's an amazing movie, though.
The only thing you need to study is your ass. Your mama's got a big ass. I got a big ass. And he's like, pass the salt.
Hercules. Oh,
God, that's a good movie.
It's a great movie. It's a great one.
One of the greatest.
In training every day, you don't really have a body part split, right? You kind of do full body most of the time.
That's a funny thing, man. Like you always ask me, what are you training now? I'm like, everything.
Yeah.
My answer is always everything, because it's always full body days for me now.
But you also do like movements that are just like different, right? I mean, you're doing like what's that, monkey foot, right? You're doing monkey foot. Mm-hmm. You're doing some knees over toes stuff, which is going to kind of require, I mean, it's, there are lunges and knees over toes like stuff, but it does kind of require your whole body. Mm-hmm. Do you still do like just regular like bodybuilding type shit?
Yeah, I'll do bicep curls. I'll do lateral raises. I'll do hamstring curls. I'll do calf work. I do all of those movements. But I do add in a lot of movements that add a lot of other muscle groups in. So when I say full body, it's not like just because the sissy squat like has the quads and the glutes. I don't count that as both. I'll still do a hamstring movement. Mm-hmm. I don't need to do any direct glute work these days. Like my butt's.
But you're not literally training every muscle group every day,
right?
Like my mentor Rip Rogers, who claimed he did every body part every day. You are you're getting to a bunch of different muscles in a day, and you don't have a specific split.
Yeah,
like you're not training you're not doing like bicep curls, tricep push downs, and then the knees over, right?
I'm doing that after. Like I'll always do biceps and triceps.
No, I know, but you don't get in every. You're not working every muscle every day.
Like traps and what?
Right? Because you're not in there for that long.
I'm not in there for that long. I superset a lot of shit.
Yeah, so, I know.
Like that's why I can get through a lot of stuff, mm-hmm. because I can get through my workout in 45 minutes to maybe an hour, because right after one movement, I'm not. Like I'll be doing, maybe if I'm doing sissy squats, maybe I'm doing some face pulls right after the sissy mm-hmm. squats and the backs of the sissy squats. Right. So like I will work biceps. If my full body split is 3 days that week, mm-hmm. I'll get it 3 times. If I'll get my triceps 3 times. Right.
And there'll be enough variation between the days to where you are hitting every muscle group.
Yes, yeah. Right. So at least every muscle group is being hit individually 2 to 3 times a week, because I do 3 workouts.
Got it.
But there isn't a day that's just lower body, or
give us a sample workout for free today.
Sissy squats.
Don't charge us today.
Mm-hmm. Sissy squats, face pulls, pull-ups, lateral raises, hammer curls, tricep pushdowns. With that, I usually would do a barbell movement.
Andrew, have you ever seen this guy work this hard before?
Never once.
Yeah. Have you ever watched me work out?
No.
Okay.
No, because I've been in the gym while you're in the gym, and I have not seen you do any of this.
Really?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I know.
You must not be paying attention.
It could be.
Then I will also be doing like maybe on that workout. Yeah, you're really.
I'm being serious.
I'm gonna flame the fuck out of you very soon. Where was I?
So you were lying about your workout.
I was lying about my workout. Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, hard to remember.
And then some type of row or something. Maybe like I haven't done Penley rows in a minute, but I might do like some dumbbell rows or something like that.
When do you work calves?
sometimes just usually if I do tibialis raises, which is the
Shins,
stuff on
yep.
the wall, I'll sometimes do calves on the slant board, but that's only like once a week. I don't do calves that often.
And then, did you say hamstrings already?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I already
you-
mentioned hamstrings. So, but that doesn't take me long because I move between movements.
Crank right through everything.
I
Yeah.
crank right through each movement.
And then, like, how many like reps? And
Usually
sets?
3, and reps depends on the day. I might be doing
Just
sets of
got
10.
it,
I might be
okay.
doing sets of 20. Depends on how I feel on the day.
Yeah.
So some days if I feel like doing very high rep loads on something, I'll do very high reps. If I feel like doing something between, I'll usually do really high reps on days that I'm trying to get a lot of blood flow. So if it's an easier day for me, then I'll do sets of 15 or 20. And that really helps with recovery because you get a lot of blood flow to the muscle group.
You do what was I gonna say? 4 or 5 exercises in like a tandem, like a
3, usually
superset?
3.
3. Okay.
It'll usually be 3. It's 2 or 3 because I can't like.
It's
it'd be
too
hard-
distracting. Yeah.
It'd be hard. Yeah, it'd be hard to move. But those exercises usually don't have anything getting in the way of each other. So if I do sissy squats and face pulls and bicep curls, they don't get in the way of each other. The face pulls don't take away from the biceps don't take away from the sissy squat. But you won't see me do a sissy squat and then something else for my hamstrings because
I've always liked working out that way, where there's like 1 or 2 things that are fairly easy, like a
Yeah.
face pull and a curl, like just aren't that hard. A sissy squat's a little more challenging.
Yeah.
So you got one thing that's going to get you breathing pretty heavy. The other 2 are kind of just other movements.
And I also understand that not everybody has the ability in a commercial gym
Right.
to go between. So, but I still think, because we made a video about antagonistic supersets, and there were a lot of comments of people saying like, oh, but in a commercial gym, you can't hug. Well, you could do a face pull and then maybe do a bicep curl and not get in the way. You could literally stay right there at that thing, do a face pull it down, do a bicep curl, put it up, do a face pull. You can choose these movements. So there are a lot of people making those types of excuses, but I think you could actually do that if you set things up the right way, so you can save a lot of time.
We can give you guys excuses too on not giving you any more fucking information. So just stop. Just please stop the madness. Fucking have an ounce of creativity in your blood. And, carry some dumbbells over to the fucking bench, or whatever you got to do. Figure it out.
Have an ounce of creativity.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But really, okay, at a gym, I think also this is where like maybe a little bit of anxiety comes into the gym because people are scared of talking to each other. And this is one thing, like when I used to work out at commercial gyms, because I did do supersets, I'd be like, hey, can I work in? I'm going to be doing this and this. And they'd be like, cool. Like you just have to talk to somebody else and make an agreement and you're good. Right. And I've worked out at commercial gyms before. It's just some people are too afraid to tell another person, hey, I'm going to be going between this and this, because most likely the other person's going to say, bitch, no, they're not going to do that to you.
Every once in a while, they might say, oh, well, I'm doing some drop sets and I got 1 or 2 more sets to finish up. And you're like, okay, cool. I'll circle back later.
And yeah, that's it. You could just circle back. But typically that some people will say, Nsima, it's because you're big or whatever. But no, it's like just because you have some etiquette and you talk to somebody and say, hey, I'm going to, can I work in with you on this while I'm doing this? And boom, you can do it. It is not that difficult. I have done that before. So to all of you who are like, I can't do that at a commercial gym, don't. That's okay. Don't. You don't need to talk to anybody. It's okay.
Yeah, just be nice.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Take us on out of here, Andrew.
I will. Thank you, everybody, for checking out today's episode.
I'm going to kill you, Andrew.
He's going to kill me. So thanks, everybody, for checking out this podcast. This is my sign off, and you guys will never see
This is the
me
last
again.
time you're going to be seeing Zaddy on the Power
Last
Project.
time.
We're going to have somebody that looks just like Andrew next, right behind there, and they just vaguely look like him.
Are you talking about Ryan Soper?
Right.
Dude.
Go for it.
So Ryan's parents came to visit him, and they were looking through one of the doors. They're like, oh, hey, we're curious why Ryan didn't come open the door for us. Like, oh, because it was not right. It was me. They thought I was their son.
That's awesome.
So
You saw the head, and they're like, oh, that's our child.
like we just saw a bald head, beard, and we just figured. And I was like, hey, I'll take it because Ryan's
Like, man,
jacked,
maybe
so.
he's not in a good mood today or some shit. That's awesome.
So,
That was great.
Eddie Hoot.
That was great.
Yeah, Ryan will be producing the show pretty soon. Thank you, Eat Right Foods, for sponsoring today's episode. That's eatritefoods.com. Check for the links down in the description as well as the podcast show notes below. Follow the podcast at Mark Bell's Power Project on Instagram, at MB Power Project on TikTok and Twitter. My Instagram and Twitter is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where are you at so people know who to tag when they can't find me?
At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, at Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. I was actually just looking up the steps thing you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently on average, my steps are around like 6,220.
Yeah, mine
So-
are 5 something.
I didn't get those up.
Same.
Well,
I'm on my feet a lot, but
Yeah.
like I'm not like, I guess I can be doing more in terms of
You
my
actually
steps.
walk around a lot when you're training, because I've seen like when you walk from one, you like, there's a lot of missteps that don't get calculated. But
Yeah.
what I would encourage people to do too is like try to have. There's a difference between like intended exercise and just like walking your dog. I think some people take their dogs on like a walk and they go out on like what I would consider like a legitimate walk. But sometimes I see like the dog like, just off like, kind of doing its own thing, and the person has to keep kind of managing, or with their children, same thing. Your kid goes running off, and like those walks are great, and it's great to walk with your dog, and it's great to walk with your child and stuff like that. But I still think there's a difference between like having like an intention of getting in your own exercise. So do that the best way that you can. And if you have recreational stuff that you do, or you do gardening or construction work, or any of those other things, those are all like you play golf or whatever. All those things are just extra. Those are all add-ons. They don't count. They don't really, they might count towards your overall steps in a day. But what I'm asking people to do is like look at what your current steps are now. If you have any indication on your phone, you remember I was saying you could look that up by clicking on the little heart thing, and you'll find your steps. To work on doing like 5,000 more steps than what you're normally used to, because your body has already adjusted to whatever it is that you're currently doing.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time to add in something different.
Yeah. It's also good to pay attention to like your standing averages. I wonder what people's like standing averages are.
This thing needs to tell us about eating too. This fucking thing needs to like, yo, you're really eating 8 times a day. It's got to be able to track it, because your heart rate goes different and everything.
Maybe, but I don't know if they've gotten there yet. But yeah.
Whoa, it has your speed and step length.
Yeah.
The fuck?
How fast are you going?
I'm going 2.3 miles per hour.
Typically standing 14 hours a day.
Where does it have that?
Stand under activity. Understand.
I don't understand.
Understanding.
Just start standing too. That'll help, peeps. Anyway,
Is it my turn?
it's your turn.
Oh. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell on TikTok and Instagram. Strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.